legends, welcome back to another Alpha State of Mind EP, Bora Nation. Thanks for joining us on the couch. Casual Fridays, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you very much.
Cheers to the end of another wonderful week. It's been busy, man. How's your week been? What's been happening?
Beautiful week, actually. Listed one amazing property in direct.
Yep.
4-bed, 2-bathroom, double car garage home.
Yep.
Did the open yesterday with 15 groups coming through on a Thursday night, 6:15 p.m. So buyers are still definitely out there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Got another one launching in Davern Park as well.
Yep.
And I've had a few vendors call me from when I sold for them 2 years ago.
Yep.
So they're starting to come back onto the market, whether they're upsizing, downsizing, whatever the case may be. They're definitely coming back on the market.
Sweet, man. And that one at direct, that's a stunning home. Sterling build.
Oh, yeah.
Verona floor plan. Midweek opens. Tell us a little bit. Why do you do it? Does it work? I was there with you last night, man. It was a pretty cool vibe. Like, it was a cracking afternoon, evening, but you had some drinks, you had some nibbles, you had a spread. It just felt like a real comfortable vibe. Like, tell us a little bit about the method behind it.
So prior to my Saturday open, which is the first Saturday open, I do a VIP open, which is I give opportunity to the buyers who have missed out on similar properties that's bought in the area. I already know they're actively looking in the area. They have the budgets for the property we're looking for.
Yep.
So I actively invite them over to come over to that open home as well.
Sweet.
Part of the purpose is to generate some interest in the home, and then we can use that as leverage on the Saturday open.
Yeah, right. Awesome. So it's just creatively and proactively working buyers from one property to the next, to the next. Because I just did a bit of a podcast with Rahil and his success in Elizabeth Vale, and he's gone from 0 market share to 12% in 6 months.
That's insane.
And that's exactly what he's doing. He's got this blueprint that he's manifested and created, and he's basically going to the average mum and dad that own a residential home that most agents are appraising at 450 to 500k.
Yeah.
He's selling these at 850 to 900 grand because of the rezoning that's going on. He's got a lot of intel, so he's clever in that space. But it's the same thing. He's like, well, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I know these buyers missed out on that one that I sold for 870 around the corner from me. It's the same home, same block, same rezoning, same age home as yours, right? So there's a lot of conviction when an agent stood in the same home with a buyer that they've missed out on that home, that when you bring them to the next home an opportunity, that buyer makes sure that they don't want to repeat what they did previously on the other property they missed out on.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's the old saying, like, why not deal with the best quality buyers first? And that's what you did last night.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Bring them here. Like, let's, volume. Anyone can bring the quantity buyer. chuckitonrealestate.com. We've been doing that for the last decades, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. But the market has evolved. The consumer behaviour needs have evolved. But yet we're still doing a lot of the same practices of how we're selling homes today to that of 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Chuck it on a portal. Let's work some buyers creatively. So it was a good environment, man, last night. It was buzzing.
I mean, even your open as well, that was very, your stunning A.V. Jennings home that you rarely ever see in the area of Burton. That was primo.
Yeah.
The interest is definitely there on a property like that. We won't go into too much information because, that's still going underway under contract and all those bits and pieces. But yeah, the vibe was absolutely fantastic, and it's good to see new faces as well as old faces coming through to the open homes. So,
yeah, 100%, mate. It's when you get known in a community and an area, and people seeing you from one property to the next, and Chris, we've seen that home with you. We missed out. Thanks for showing us this home.
Yeah.
You start that's the relationship business that you want to be in, and I actually love that. Yesterday I had families that have bought off me 13 years ago in the community come over, excited to see me because they're walking around the block.
Yeah.
Come give you a hug and kiss. How you going, Chris?
Yeah.
That to me it gives me goosebumps because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
The end commodity is the home. The reality is it's people and relationships that we create over time. That is the lasting impression of business.
I'll give you credit because you do get a lot of those people who do speak highly of you. Even prior to me coming to EXP, once I did come over to EXP, there were so many people who reached out to me like, you know what, you did the right move because, I bought my house with Chris and he's one of the best real estate agents I've ever come across. Even my own family, he said, when they were property hunting, they came across you as well. They absolutely loved you. And I actually met you through my brother buying his property off you. But Yeah, you know, your reputation far exceeds just the real estate norm. You know, a lot of people, they're just here to transact property. And I remember you saying yesterday as well, you're not here to do 100 sales per year. You're not here to not give the customer service. You're here to, you know, provide a good service to the people.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's what I really respect about you. And I replicate that into my business, which is the reason why, for a short time period, I'm starting to build that referral base as well.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, I really like that.
Mate, look, you know, I've always thought I could probably do the 100 plus sales if I really pushed.
Yeah.
And I could get a team around me of people that support me to do that. Could I do it? Yeah. Am I still young enough? Yeah, I've still got the hunger. But do I want to? Like, when you build a team of scale, you lose some control.
Yeah, of course.
And maybe I'm a bit over control bearing with my business, but I don't know, I really like the fact that the seller and the buyer, they deal with me beginning to end.
Yeah.
And when you get to 100 sales a year, you can't offer that level of service from beginning to end. You just simply can't.
100%.
There's got to be more cooks in the kitchen
Yeah.
when you get to 100 plus sales.
I mean, how many times have you heard it? Stories where they're like, oh, I listed with this agent, and then I never heard from them ever again.
Yeah, well, I think it's just about keeping it real too, man. Like, you know, we got some feedback last night about smoke and mirrors and facades and what you get from one agent to the next. And, you know, hearing that just kind of solidifies why I probably don't want to go to that level. Sure, I can make more money.
Yeah.
But 100 plus more sales a year, that's a lot more headaches, it's a lot more stress. I mean, this podcast, man, we created it to keep shit real and raw.
Yeah.
It's not about suits and lattes and Ferraris and fancy cars. Like, it's about people and lives,
Yeah.
you know. And I think when you get to that level in life, it starts to become a little bit more materialistic.
Yeah, of course.
Which I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not, man. Like, I'm happy in shorts and thongs and a singlet, and you know, I'm happy to go down the beach and get dirty, and you know,
Those are real and genuine.
I don't sleep in a suit, man. Like, you know, which, mate, let's talk about this, because we got some interesting feedback last night. So you know, this particular property obviously listed it, and you know, I was a bit perplexed about this, I guess. But the client said, you know, they called me and said, we spoke, after the open, and went through the feedback, the numbers, and you know what's going to happen over the next 24 hours. Anyway, at the end of the call, they wanted to ask me a question, and the question was, a previous agent they had invited in to appraise the home had obviously identified the home was now on the market for sale with myself.
Yeah.
And obviously questioned why. You know, said, well, can I get some feedback? Why did you go with EXP? Why did you go with Chris? And my take on it was, okay, I don't do that. And that was the first thing I said to the client. I said, well, look, you know, each to their own in our industry. Everyone does things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I said, look, to this seller of mine, I said, I don't win every bit of business I go in for. Like, we're in a game, you don't win 100% of what you're going for.
Yeah.
You lose.
Yeah.
But I love the losses as much as I love the wins, because the losses help you grow and learn and improve. But do I call the clients when they choose another agent? No.
Yeah.
I said, that's not me. For me, I find that a little bit tacky.
Yeah.
And she said, it's funny, I felt the same way. Like, if you know I'm on the market with another agency, why don't you just let it go?
Exactly right.
Which I do. If I lose something, all the best. Obviously, I didn't stand out. And I think, man, there's two reasons that you will or won't win business. And it is either they like you. So if they like, know and trust you, you're going to do business with people, right? Yeah. So the vibe. Yeah. And this client said to me, she goes, we just felt the vibe more with you.
Yeah.
Your energy, you had a few... And the second point I was going to say was, your unique points of difference, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just always about fee. It could be, what is it that you're doing different to offer value over fee?
Yeah, of course.
So they're the two things I think. But anyway, what's your thoughts on that, man, that getting a call? Like, do you call clients that list with other agents if you've appraised it, or...?
Funny question. I usually don't, because I know that I'm overstepping my boundaries, and I think it's a bit disrespectful to another agent to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we're all in the same industry. We should be treating each other equally and fairly.
Yeah.
I would never, call behind a signboard or anything like that. The only time I would call the vendor was to go, hey, congratulations, look, you obviously didn't list with me. I wish you all the best, and I hope the person is going to be able to service you, just to exactly what you want. But, if anything changes, my service is still here.
Yeah.
I've never called and tried to get some information about what the other agent did differently or anything like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't sit well with me. It just doesn't feel right. So
It's almost like clutching at straws for me.
yeah,
Like, I think if the business is lost, the listing's live, it's gone.
yeah,
It's too late.
gone, yeah.
You know, it's like the partner that breaks up with you and you're grovelling back to them, but they don't want you.
Yeah, exactly
Like,
right.
they don't fucking want you. They left you. It's over.
Let it go. You
The
know?
hatchet's buried.
But the thing is this, Chris, is business is unlimited. If you have that mindset that business is unlimited, it doesn't matter what you lose. You go out and find more clients that you can help.
100%, man. I think there's so much more out there for all of us that focusing on the missed opportunities. And I said to this client, I said, look, there's probably two reasons there. Maybe they do want some genuine feedback, but are you prepared to tell them what they might not want to hear? She said, no, that's really awkward and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I said, okay, don't call them back then. There's no need to. Like, let's just keep focused on what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's the priority right now. We don't want any distractions, right? Now I'm hoping that they weren't, trying to infiltrate to distract the client, because it's a stressful time for a seller, man, as it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They've just come on the market, they're fresh, they're vibrant.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I almost feel like by doing that, it will make the vendor not want to do business with you even further.
Well, she said it solidified her decision.
Yeah.
And her words were, I know why they're calling, it's because you guys are doing a lot.
Yeah,
You're
well-
standing out. Like, we're seeing XP a lot in the market, socially, digitally. Like, you're obviously rattling the cage a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's, so each to their own. I don't think I would do it. I mean, if there's industry agents watching this, we'd love to hear from you, see what your thoughts are on it. I know some offices and agencies often coach around that, like call them, find out why. And that's the second thing I said to her. I said, look, the other reason that sometimes agents will reach out to you is they'll say they've got a buyer.
Yeah.
So, and I said to her very clearly, I said, look, if he's got a buyer and it's genuine, and it's a buyer that's going to pay you the highest price with the best terms,
Yeah.
I will split the commission. So
Yeah.
if that's what the call's about, great. But it wasn't, because the voicemail specifically was, why did you go, Chris? Why did you choose EXP? What could we have done better?
Yeah.
So it was more feedback related anyway. But anyway, man, that was interesting conversation last night. A little bit of a dampener, because obviously they were super excited. We had a stellar VIP viewing.
Yeah.
They were really excited, but just to get that call of the day of their VIP viewing, it's like, is that a coincidence putting two and two together here, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit interesting, isn't it?
Never a dull moment in our industry, man.
Yeah, I
I
know.
always believe they just stay in your lane, you'll do okay. Like,
I mean, I've had it myself as well. And like I said, I think by doing that, it solidifies the choice that the vendor chose you instead. Because
Yeah.
I had a vendor where another agency called them up after I listed it. And that agent's called me up too.
Yeah.
Not to congratulate me, but to go, how did you come up to this figure of appraisal?
yeah,
And obviously, I just used the comparative market analysis to come up with that number.
yeah,
And I ended up selling for above what I quoted anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's very interesting. And by doing that and by coming with that angle, I don't think it's going to work well or in your favour in any way, shape or form.
Well, it's interesting. We were talking on our weekly hustle and skills session today about pricing difference.
Yeah.
And this was one of the things that led this client to appointing me, was just connection, I guess, and the vibe and energy, but also when they were pressing the agent on price that went in before me, they sort of gave them a figure that crushed their hopes and dreams a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's where business absolutely can be won and lost, because if you're crushing someone's hopes and dreams on a price that they want to make a move work, I mean, no agent can promise the exact dollar and cent figure you're going to get on a home, right? Like, the goalpost is changing all the time. It's an unknown variable.
Exactly right, yeah.
I was even talking to a valuer today who's valuing one of my properties, and she's like, okay, I can see the sold price, but all the data I'm looking at is like 30, 40 grand less. And I said, I get that, because the data's redundant. You're looking at 3 to 6 months ago.
Yeah.
This property that I've sold right now had 9 offers in 1 week. So what's that telling you? That's the current climate, not what was happening 3 to 6 months ago.
Yeah.
We can look back in time, but the world is in a different place today than what it was back in time.
Exactly right, yeah.
So, one of the things that I said to this client is, I said, look, let's take price out of the equation. If I can get you something with an 8 in front of it, does that help you move? I said, yeah. Let's give it 2 weeks.
Just give it a go.
Doesn't matter what I think. Doesn't matter what that agent thinks. The most important thing is what you need to make this move work. Let's focus on that, your why,
Yeah.
and your time frames. And after 2 weeks, we'll know if that's there, less, more, or about the mark.
Yeah.
And
I think our jobs as real estate agents is not to promise a price anyway, because at the end of the day, we're not property valuers. We're here to market the property. Our job is to market the property. And I remember there was a training by Tom Panos. He goes, the price of a property is what someone is willing to offer and what the vendor is willing to accept.
Yeah.
That's the price. So how would we know until we market the property and bring buyers through and get their opinion?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, that's what I was saying to this client. I said, look, there's a lot of people sitting on money at the moment, right? A lot of equity out there because of what's happened in the market over the last 3 years.
yeah.
So, and let's be honest, man, there's some people and their home values have gone up $250,000, like in 3-4 years. It's insane, right?
Yeah.
So what does it mean to me if I pay $100,000 over there more to get that home that's an upsizer in my dream location that unlocks all my family dreams, when I'm still $250,000 up on my home here that I'm unhappy, it's too small, we've outgrown it, we're miserable, we hate this location. Because the way I look at it, I'm still $150,000 ahead with the equity that my home's grown by.
Yeah.
And this is what I explained to this client, and I think this was a little bit of my point of difference. I said, we got to help these people unlock their equity to get into that next phase and chapter of their life.
Yeah.
And what's an extra $50,000-$100,000 here in your home when they're still so far ahead on their home with the equity that they've got too?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, that makes complete sense. And I said, well, it's like an equity transfer, right? Everyone's sitting on a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we just got to transfer and unlock that equity so they can pay the money that you need here in your home so they can move forward, you can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what's happened. The buyers that have made offers, some of them, Vietnamese and Nepalese families, very good with money, 6-7 people living in the same home with income, smashing down the mortgage.
Yeah.
One of them bought a home off me in Burton 12 years ago.
Yeah.
They paid it off. So they got a home worth 550K. So they own that outright.
Yeah, wow.
So is that a buyer that can spend $800,000 plus? Is the bank going to lend them money?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So what does it matter what I think it's worth, or the agent that went in before me?
Yeah.
That buyer's just in an incredible financial position.
That's definitely a good way of looking at it, yeah.
What's an extra 50, 80, 100 grand to them to get into their dream home and location? It's nothing.
Nothing,
Because they'll just pay it down. They'll pay it off in no time.
Yeah, yeah.
So, interesting times, man.
And from the vendor's perspective as well, what I was speaking to my vendor the other day, he goes, mate, you know, I've outlived this property, I'm going to the next one. At the end of the day, I've made a lot of equity here. I'm selling my house tax-free.
Yeah.
Tax-free.
Every dollar equates to two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, from the vendor's perspective, it's also a win for them as well.
It's so true, man. Like, I think sometimes we forget that we focus so much on price and commission to sell and marketing investment required that we forget about the why.
Yeah.
Like, what's more important to you? Is it more important to be with your wife, like we were talking on today's session?
Yeah, yeah.
The fella that has to sell his home because his wife's gone into a home. Like, does it matter really if you get 50 grand less or more? Like, let's just get you as much from the market we can possibly now, because then you're with your wife sooner.
Yeah.
Like, what's more important?
It's funny because I had a chat with, now this is from a buyer's perspective, I'm in an iron about giving that 20k difference.
Yeah.
And I said to them, what does it matter for a 20 grand difference? If you don't buy now, you're either going to miss out and then, you know, the market goes up again and then you'll be paying more.
Yeah.
Or you just spend that extra 20 grand and you get into that property that you want.
Yeah.
And as Bjorn said today, you're marrying the property, you're dating the rates.
That's right.
So that makes a lot of sense to me as well. Yeah.
You're not marrying the rates because they change.
Yeah.
You're marrying the property because you're there for a long time.
Yeah.
You know? I love that. That was really cool, that terminology.
I'll use that dialogue in the
That was
future,
awesome.
definitely.
But it's so true, man. Like 20 grand in the grand scheme of things. And we say it all the time. It's the difference of buying and missing out.
Yeah.
Sometimes even 5 grand, 10 grand.
I think in this market right now, being conservative is not what you should be doing, especially if you're putting an offer under than what the agent has sort of quoted as well.
Yeah.
And if you really want that property, you're emotionally attached to that property. I don't think being conservative with your offer is the right thing to do, because we had a person who missed out on the property because they were conservative with their offer.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, why would you be conservative on the offer if that's the property you want to buy?
Exactly.
You want to live in. Like, when I bought my property, I bought it in peak market. I went straight as high as I could go. Even a bit above what I was allowed to spend.
Yeah.
And I made sure I got the money from somewhere though, but not financial advice. But Yeah, if you love the property, remember you're marrying the property, dating the rates. Worst case scenario, if you don't like the property,
Yeah.
divorce it and sell it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy though, like, because you were that buyer, and at that time, you know, you were like, oh man, I'm paying big money for this,
Yeah.
right? Hindsight's a beautiful thing though,
Yeah,
because back then you felt that you were paying a premium price.
100%. Yeah,
Fast forward to today, and you've been in your home, what, a year?
yeah, about a year.
About a year. That price, looking back now, it was a great buying
Yeah.
price now compared to where the market's at.
Yeah,
You
it
know.
was jumped up by 100 grand almost in equity, so that's pretty cool.
So you made money already with your fees on the way in.
Yeah.
You're already in a positive, equitable
Yeah.
position. You
No,
know.
the only thing is I know that, you know, the home you own is a liability, never an investment, so it is what it is. But it's still, I made some equity. I'm ready to move on to the next one when I can, and yeah.
It's exciting. So what's on the horizon, mate, for the weekend and the week ahead?
Huge opens. Very, very excited because we've got, you know, back to 4 or 5 opens per.
Well, no, we've
Yeah.
sold them, man. I had to cancel Coolin today because it's under contract.
Oh, right, yeah.
Unconditional. So I think we got yours at Davern Park. Then we got a Gap. Then we
Yeah.
got mine at Lake Ridge.
Yeah.
And then we got a Gap because Coolin was it. And then we got the Sellers.
That's cool.
So we had about
That's
6 or
great.
7 lined up,
Yeah.
but we banged about 4 or 5 over, and yeah, now we got gaps in between.
Yeah.
Welcome to the hustle of real estate life. Anything can change at any moment of the day
Exactly
and
right.
week.
I mean,
So-
all my vendors are preparing their house for the spring market and all those bits and pieces. So I'm keen to see what I've got coming up because I've got some really big $1 million joints coming up,
Yeah.
which I don't usually sell. Most of my houses are around about the $500,000 range.
Mhm.
The area I sell is generally northern suburbs, Parallel, East Salisbury Council. So
Yep.
you know, to get these sort of houses, it's a big move for me.
Yep.
But I'm super excited to see exactly where I go from here with in terms of my
What's happening on the growth horizon, man? We got an individual that's coming into your team. I'm excited by this guy. He's
Yeah.
switched on, man.
Very, very switch on in the sales industry as well, but also tech-wise, building websites. Yeah, he's more.
You just know when you meet with someone, you're like, this fucking guy's got it, man.
Yeah,
Like, you know when you got that entrepreneurial spirit, and I think some people it's just built, like it's in them, like
Yeah.
they're born with that spirit.
yeah.
This guy's got that. Like, we clicked straight away, obviously, and yeah, I'm super excited for him. And you know, we've got a number of guys and girls coming into our team. We've got a few that are onboarding as we speak. We're going to be north of 50 agents across the state
Yeah, that's the same. Yeah.
in the next week or two. But what I'm also excited about, man, is our expansion starting into Victoria.
Oh wow.
So we've got a guy that we're bringing on in Victoria who will be our key person, our key stakeholder to
Yeah.
replicate what we've done in SA in Victoria.
Yeah.
And what we're doing with these guys and girls is we're collaborating for them to replicate what we've built over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Learn from our mistakes, don't repeat it, but we're giving them the blueprint of how to build and scale mass teams across their state. We've also got some individuals that are partnering with us in Queensland soon as well.
Yeah. Wow.
So what I'm really excited for, mate, is connecting with industry agents who have that entrepreneurial mindset, not just in SA but across the country, that want to look at things from a different perspective with not just real estate transactions, but actually collaborating on the 5 pillars that we provide with wealth and income and,
Yeah.
and assets. We also just caught up with Lisa B today and our Indian partnered agents.
Yeah.
And we're building a blueprint map to launch in India, man, with growth.
Oh, really?
So Lisa B's heading over there at the tail end of this year. We're looking to have a massive event
Yeah.
to support her. And man, India is an exciting prospect because, I mean, the population,
It's huge.
and there's no, like, let's just say it's not as restrictive with employment laws and licensing compliance laws
Yeah.
like it is in Australia. Because Australia is, it's hard. Australia's a great place to do business, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It is
Too
hard.
much compliance.
There is. There's
But
a lot of
it's-
red tape.
A good thing in a way as well.
It is, but I think a lot of it sometimes to justify someone's job in the government departments, you know, to lick the envelope and stamp the approval or something. But anyway, so that's exciting, man. I can't wait for your guy to come on board. Can we?
Yeah.
We can't say his name.
Yeah, go for it.
Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Mr. Luke.
Mr.
Good
Luke,
friend
if you're
of-
watching this, brother, we are super pumped.
Yeah.
So, mate, and I couldn't believe this when Lisa was sharing it with me the other day. So Luke's going to be your 8th member
Yeah.
in your team.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
That's crazy.
It's very interesting because I've never went out to actively, you know, go out and, you know, tell people to join EXP.
Attract. Yeah.
They've literally come up to me. They go, "Hey man, I see what you're doing, and I want to do it too." I'm like, "Well, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Up to you. If you want to join, if you want to jump on board, feel free.
Why do you think that is though, man? Like, what is the number one reason you think people are attracted to you, not just in business, but in life? Because when people gravitate to you, something's happening, man. There's something that's happening internally with you. What do you think that number one thing is?
I'm just genuinely a happy person, like in general, because I've come from a place where I wasn't so happy, but now I'm living my best life at the moment. And I spoke to you earlier before, I wanted to talk about happiness, and I think finding the career that you want to wake up to do is a big factor. Now, I don't even feel like I'm working some days because I feel happy to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, I've always wanted to be in a place where I can help people.
Yeah.
And the fact that I get paid for it is even better. But, you know, I'm just putting out positive energy out there, and I think people are attracted to positive energy as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and not just that, but I want to, you know, with the Alpha State of Mind, I have an entrepreneurial mindset to try and build an empire for myself as well. And I think people who want to do that, because the people who are with us, they want to do that as well. So that's the reason why they wanted to go, hey, what are you doing that's so successful? Let me replicate that as well. So
I think you hit the nail on the head, man. It's happiness. When you're authentically and genuinely happy, it just radiates through.
Yeah.
You know, and it does. You attract like for like, man. You know, if you're all about money and greed, well, guess what? You're going to surround yourself with greedy people.
Well, funny you say that, because I know a real estate agent who was like that.
Yeah.
And his empire is slowly crumbling. And I'm not going to say his name, but at the end of the day, why would people want to be around you if you're a toxic person? No one wants to feel like shit.
It lasts,
You know
but it
what I mean?
lasts for only. It's only sustainable for so long.
Yeah. And no one wants to be used and abused. It's a fact of I want to be able to empower people. So the people around me in my circle, I'm very selective of who I put around my circle, because how you react as well is how you affect my life as well.
Yeah.
So if you're a toxic, negative person, I will cut you off and I will not even want to talk to you. And then I have no, what's the word for it? For
Tolerance.
lack of a better word, yeah, tolerance for it. I just don't care. If you're negative, toxic, you go out to screw people over, I don't want to be around you.
Yeah.
But if you're a good, genuine person who wants to help other people grow and help yourself grow, I love that.
Help and serve, man. Life's not hard. Just help and serve more people be successful and be happy.
Yeah.
Like if you do that, it's, I don't know, it's a crazy thing. People talk about the universe. My wife believes in the universe, gravitation, and all that
I
stuff.
believe in that as well.
I do too, man. And you know, initially years back I didn't. I'd be like, whatever. You know, you manifestation. You just got to work and grind it, and you get what you work. But there is an element of gravitation in the universe, the way it comes back to you by helping and serving people with no expectations in return. You know,
I feel like you know, they say, like, from a physical point of view, energy can't be destroyed.
Yeah.
You know, it can only be changed.
100%.
So what you put out will, you know, eventually go around the world and eventually come back to you. So yeah, that's why I'm a big believer, not so much of manifestation, but just being a good, genuine person.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're a happy person, you're putting out good content all the time, why wouldn't people want to list their property with you?
1000%.
Do you know what I mean?
Mate, I've got business because of energy.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not hard to be happy and be genuinely happy and just be energetic and bubbly and love what you're doing. Like, life's hard enough as it is with being miserable and sad, right? It's harder to be happier and it's easier to be sad, but you've got the same choice either way.
100%, yeah.
Right? You can choose to be miserable.
Yeah.
You can choose to be happy. We all have that same choice. A lot of people choose to be miserable because they just look at things from, you know, maybe not the best light or position. Like, you know, it's just it's just the way you look at things.
Yeah. Well, just like everyone else, I'm a person, I'm a human. I have my good days and I have my bad days, and I know when I'm having a bad day, if I have, you know, for example, a finance clause falls through, that just shits me off.
Yeah.
Or building a pest inspection, you know, something small like that will make me angry. But I don't go and push that energy out on people.
Yeah.
I try to smile more at people. I try to compliment more people.
Yeah.
Because if I know if I make someone feel good, because if they're feeling the same way I am, feeling like shit on the inside, but at least if they heard one good thing, it might change their life.
Yeah.
You know, and I know for a fact that the more energy I push out like that, the more will come back tenfold.
1000%, man. 1000%.
Yeah.